Hello my YouTube friends! There is a lot of content out there on OBS for live streaming. So much in fact that you might think it's the only game in town, especially if you want something free. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not. There are some great alternatives to OBS out there that are also totally free. I'm going to show you the top 5 today, so you know what? Let's get to it! There's no specific order to this group, mainly because I don't personally think any one of them is better than the other. In fact, I think they all have their own merits to the right streamer. It just depends on what you're trying to do with your live stream. So first, let's talk about Prism Live Studio. There is a link in the description for all of these so you can download them and check them out for yourself. Let's dive in. Here we are in Prism Live Studio. For anyone who's familiar with OBS, this looks pretty similar, just maybe a little prettier. Up here in the top left, you have all the menu items that you would normally find. So scene collection, docs, view, profile, collection, all that sort of stuff. You've got some tools here. Down here, you've got your scenes. And I have 2 loaded in here. So you can see we've got a desktop capture and my camera. And then this one. The nice thing is you can use plugins. So I can actually add the Move plugin and use it. So it will actually load in OBS plugins. So there we go. We can see how that works in Prism Live Studio. And that extends to all the things like docs. So I can put in my downstream keyer and we can dock it over here. So a lot of the things that you find in OBS you can use in Prism Live Studio, which is pretty cool. But then it has all kinds of extra additional features on top. You got your sources here and your audio mixer. They basically combined your transitions into this little button right here, and your settings and stuff are over here. So if you want to get settings, you just click that. Over here on the right, we can add chat, boom, and we can dock that as well. Prism Lens, which is very, very cool. We have the virtual camera, scene templates, which is kind of nice. They're easy to put in here. This is a feature that allows you to draw on the screen and remove. You've got this one right here, which is Prism stickers, and they just, when you select them, they go right on the screen. Puts them right in here. Adds them really easy, very cool. And then this is very similar. These are stickers. They work the same way. They just add right into your system. You can put them in and take them out just like that. You can add music to your live stream, create a collection, all that sort of stuff, or add a source. And then right here you can add a remote control which uses Prism Mobile and allows you to control your live stream. But it has even more than that. If we click the plus, you're going to see over here we've got video capture and all of the same stuff that you are used to in OBS over here on the left, including any plugins that I may have installed like Source Clone and things like that. Over here on the right we have Prism only things like the Prism Lens, which is a separate feature that you can actually use in OBS or any other application that will allow you to remove your background from your camera and things like that really easily. You can have up to 3 different lenses in there using the exact same camera, so you can add 3 different backgrounds or effects or anything like that. It's very cool. Prism Mobile allows you to add your cell phone camera directly into OBS, uses aspects of Prism Lens as well. It has incredible text templates which allow you to do animated text like lower thirds, things like that. Prism Chat, of course, will allow you to add chat in there so that you can see it. And then you've got cool things like viewer count widget, the audio visualizer, background templates, and a clock widget, which make it really easy to add things like a countdown timer to the beginning of your stream and stuff like that. And all that stuff is built in absolutely free in Prism. Prism also will allow you to go ahead and just connect up here with your favorite platforms. And then when you hit go live, you could just start live streaming. It will even allow you to configure up and schedule live streams for the future. So those are the kind of things that you can use with Prism Live Studio. And it is a great alternative to OBS. And the best part is that it has awesome built-in features, but can also add the awesome features of plugins from your OBS Studio right in here. So pretty much anything that you could ever want to use is available right here in Prism Live Studio. Now let me show you the most unique streaming platform on this list, Polypop. This is Polypop Studio. It is absolutely 100% unique. You have the hamburger menu over here, which allows you to set different things up. It has its own plugin setup, which I think is really cool. 3D, 2D, alerts, all kinds of different plugins that you can add in here. Different presets and sources and themes and utilities. It also has something called starting points, which is a little different than what you would find in a lot of other places. So it shows you the recent sessions that were set up. You can go here to basic and just set up basic live streams. You can also go through the in-app tutorials, which are going to show you how to actually use all of the systems that are in Polypop. So I think that's super cool. This is the basics that you're going to get when you start it up. So you can add scenes up here and they will just kind of collect up here at the top. It automatically adds microphone and desktop audio when you do this. So you can right click on this and change it, remove it. When you select this, it shows you right down here what exactly is in there. So I can go ahead and pick the microphones that I want to use. So I could go and select the proper mic right here, and I can select my desktop audio as well, which would be my headphones. So now we've automatically got these set up so they will add in, and we're done. So now we have microphone and audio. You can see your output mix down here shows you these particular audio sources that are combined. We could click the plus and come in here. And so we've got all this 2D and 3D stuff. We can add a 2D capture or a 2D webcam. So a 2D capture would be something like another desktop or something like that. 2D webcam would just be your camera. So we go ahead and add that, and I can select the camera that I want and what format, size, and frames per second. We can flip it and do all that kind of stuff and click OK. And that is added in there. As you can see, I can shrink it, do whatever I want. But the thing that makes Polypop so ridiculously unique is the ability to add 3D objects and that sort of stuff. So we can add a 3D screen layer. We'll go ahead and remove that. We'll click the plus and we'll go in here and we can add physics, breakable boxes, 3D text, all kinds of stuff. So this breakable box one is really cool. So we can add it as a 3D object emitter or an object set. We're just going to go ahead and add it, and we see it right here. If we move it, it will kind of break, and we can reset it, put it back together. So we can go down here to texture, and we can pick it, and we can select the camera that we want on our 3D box. So there we go. So now when we move our box, we've got that camera physically on there. We can turn the opacity up. So now we've got a bunch of little boxes. We'll move this over here and we'll reset it. There we go. We can basically set all of the different parameters up for this to make it bigger, smaller, the bounciness, whether it floats around. If it's fixed, we can add modifiers to it as well for it to inflate or move around the screen. And of course, we could just grab it with our mouse and break it all apart. You can actually connect stuff like that up with different kinds of alerts so that when an alert happens, your box could break apart. Stuff can fly all over the screen. Let's go ahead and delete that. We'll go in here. We could go and select any kind of 3D objects and we can add them into the scene. And you can just kind of move it around. You can select this and inflate it, rotate it. You can add gravity and physics to it. So now you can see we can move it around, we can roll it, and you can actually set this up so it will work with different alerts that you can create. And keep in mind that you can do this with everything. So if we click the plus and we go into 3D objects, we can go down here and select a screen and click add. And it will add a screen. We can select our webcam to put on that screen. And now we have a screen right here. We can go to our screen, and we can change up how we view it. We can make it bigger or smaller, so we can go ahead and scale it up, and we can rotate it. We can bring it out or in, rotate it on the axis up and down, tilt it, and there we go. So we can literally do all of these things with cameras, any asset you could think of. So if you load a video in here, you could do all of this stuff. And we can actually open the library over here and then add properties. So right here, we can add browser sources, different microphones or webcams. We can add YouTube alerts, and all of that sort of stuff you can add, building it right in here. And it is a lot of fun to build these in. So you can select the type of alerts you want with stats or whatever. So if somebody subscribes or does whatever, you could select what you want, and then you kind of drag this over here to select the action that you want it to take. So if you want something to be visible only when the alert's on, you can drag it over here. And this makes creating live streams in Polypop a whole lot of fun. And I barely just covered the basics. It is such a unique platform that allows you to integrate all kinds of 3D aspects and allows you to add all of the same sources that you would normally add in OBS. Any kind of videos or display capture or window capture, all of those things can be added in here and then turned into 3D, make them motion activated, and all kinds of other stuff. So I really think this is one of the least used free tools out there for live streaming that can create an absolutely 100% totally unique streaming experience. If you've never checked it out, I highly recommend that you play around with it. The third one I want to show you is Streamlabs Desktop. This is Streamlabs OBS, and once again, it's very, very similar to what you're going to normally find in OBS. You can see it starts you out with desktop audio and microphone audio the second that you create a new profile. And over here, we've got some different menus. So let's just expand that out a little bit. It gives you a little more idea. So in Editor, we've got the Layout Editor, which allows you to select different layouts and just drag over here what you want. So you can see we've got the display up here, the mini feed. This is the most like OBS, but you can select different ones and even drag and drop the elements that you want in there. We're going to go ahead and leave it as that. And then, of course, Studio Mode is available. Just like in OBS. Overlays, you could go and check this out. It will have different scenes, alerts, and widgets that you can add, that sort of stuff. And there is also a collection of stuff that you could get from the App Store. Now just keep in mind that some of these things are available through the Ultra program, which is paid. You don't need any of it, and you'll never be asked to get any of it, but it does exist if it is something that you want. And down here, there is a button to get Ultra if you'd like. So the beautiful thing about Streamlabs, while it doesn't use OBS plugins, is that it has all the basic features that you're going to get in OBS, and it adds all of the Streamlabs tools directly in here as well. So you have access to all that. Now you can see that this, just like Prism, adds the transition button right here, so you can add your transitions. You can create new scenes here, and you can add new sources. And so here you've got your essential stuff like your media file, video capture, screen capture. And so we can add a video capture device super easy. We just bring this in here and we're going to go, and it's basically exactly the same layout and everything as OBS. So we're going to go ahead and select that and close. And you're going to notice if we go ahead and click the plus, so up here in the essentials, we've got the alert box, the event list, and stream labels, which you can add directly to your live stream right from here. This is one of the main reasons why Streamlabs Desktop is awesome, because otherwise you'd have to add these through browser sources. So we can go into alert box, add a source, and we can add all of our alerts right here: donations, merch, Patreon, super chat, subscribers, members. And all we have to do is select them. It's going to show us our alert. If we want to change our alert, all the layout stuff is right here. The font size, the weight, everything. We can select different videos. We don't have to use the default. We can change all of this stuff up right here and then click done, and our alerts box is right here. We just place it wherever we want and boom, we're done. There's no need to add browser sources or anything like that. It makes Streamlabs Desktop a very, very powerful tool. So then we've got the event list and stream labels, which do the exact same thing. We can also add images, colors. It's got the same text GDI. Pretty much all of the things that you're used to in OBS are going to be in here, plus then all the extra widgets like the jar and the chat box and your tip goals, Stream Boss. All of the tools that you find in Streamlabs, you're going to find built right in so that you could just add them right in here. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. You can expand this out and it will show you your chat. If you're a person who's never used Streamlabs tools but wants to add alerts and donations, this is a good option. Also, if you're a person who uses OBS and has been adding them as browser sources and all that sort of stuff, and you just want to simplify your stream, this is a great option because basically all of those things are built right in. I work really hard to try to bring you guys content I think you're going to like. Sometimes I hit and sometimes I miss, but honestly, it's really hard to know for sure. And that's where you guys can really help me out. If you're enjoying this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. However, if it's not your cup of tea, give it a thumbs down. It's perfectly fine. If everyone watching this video gives it either a thumbs up or a thumbs down, it's going to tell me exactly what you think about this type of content. And if you love it, I can make more. And if you don't, I can move on to something else. So leave me those thumbs up and thumbs down. I really do appreciate it. And let's get back to the video. The next one is brand new. In fact, the Windows version is still in beta, and that's Meld Studio. So this right here is Meld Studio, and I absolutely love how super simple this is to use. So if we go up here to File, you've got Save, Errors, Reload, and Preferences. And you can see how unbelievably simple Preferences is. You set your canvas size and your output size once you set that. Your frame rate, then you set your streaming server and your stream key stuff and your recording information right here. Super simple. You can add some plugins, although right now there's really nothing available since this is in beta. Your audio stuff, so you can set your system default depending upon how you want this to set up. You've got your smart guides, which are the lines that show up to kind of make sure that you align everything up. And then you've got your transitions. You can see you've got the fade, morph, and move. Very cool, simple, easy. That's all there is. You've got copy and paste, and in view, you've basically got take a screenshot. Super simple. You can share your feedback here. Layers, scenes. You got your audio mixer down here, and then your inspector for the different things that you add over here. So we've got a scene here. If we click the plus, you could see how ridiculously simple this is. We can add a video device. We just drop that video device down and select it, and boom, we can just set the size of our video device right here. The other thing I really like about this is we select our audio individually. So I think that's great. We just click the plus and it adds it, and we go ahead and click this right here and we select the audio device that we want. Boom. We can adjust the volume right here. We can edit it so we have it left or right, leaning, or whatever we want, mono. Now we're pretty much ready to go live. If we have this selected right here, or our video device selected right here, we could change the transform, the width, the height, the pixel. We can make it less or more opaque. We can actually change which device it is, and the frame rate. We could import effects right here, or click the plus and you see a whole bunch of different effects that you can use. Very cool. Drop shadow is already in there, directional blur, fractal noise, Gaussian blur, sharpen, tint, transform. Lots of different cool things that you can add to any of your cameras. If we were to click the plus, you're going to see we've got display capture, media source, so you can add video or audio. You can add an image, you can add a browser source, so you could still use all of your alerts. You've got your duplicator, so you could duplicate other scenes. Then text tools, pretty simple stuff. When you add a text, all of your information comes up over here. It makes it super easy to change the font, change the text, whatever you want to do. It's just so simple to do all this stuff. I can right click over here and delete the layer. And then when we go in here, we've got markdown as well. So you could kind of mark down, which just puts text that's not going to be seen by the viewer in locations that you want it, so that you could kind of remember different elements of your screen if that's what you need to do. And that's really all there is. You can go live up here. You could set all of this up. When you're recording, it has your disk space and your frames per second listed up here. This is just super simple. I would say you could probably get up and live streaming in this with a basic thing in almost no time at all. Another cool tool is these little corner pieces right here, where we can stretch and make these circular or whatever. So it allows you to add some pretty unique little looks to your live stream. And it's a super simple setup. I think this is a really cool tool, especially for people just starting out with live streaming who want something that's really easy to navigate and work with. The last one here is called Split Cam. And this last one here is Split Cam, and this is really simple as well for those who might just be starting out. If we click the hamburger up here, we can set up a new project, open an old project, save, all that kind of stuff. We can actually save projects to the cloud if we like. We can log in and register to do that. We can view our streaming logs, and there are video guides and a support forum to help us out. If we go into settings, it's really simple. We've got our general settings to set up our canvas and how we're going to have things look. We can set up snapshots, so we can take a snapshot directly from our live stream and the resolution, or set it up to go every certain amount of time. Then we've got recordings, pretty simple. What you want your recording to be, the maximum length, you know, the resolution, all that sort of stuff. Super easy. This tells you what the setup is for the keys that are built in already. And then you've got your hotkeys right here that you could set up. And then, of course, additional stuff right here. All very, very simple, easy to work through. Over here, you've got your scene setups, so you can set up multiple different scenes. And then, of course, this is what's in your scene from a media perspective and an audio perspective. Down here, you've got your mute, your pause, if you wanted to pause a scene, your go live, your snapshot, and your record. Very simple setup. Right up here, you can go and change your tip notification information. So if you want to enable your notifications and play sounds for them, show notifications on the stream, so it will automatically say so-and-so got a this or that, a tip or a super chat or something. You can set up your stream settings right here. You can add channels like YouTube and, you know, anything that you can think of. Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. You can add custom ones in there. Very easy. There's even a restream button right here where you can configure up restream if you want to stream to multiple platforms. Very, very easy to set up and do. So that's how you're going to set up your stream for this. Let's go ahead and fix this. It automatically loaded in the incorrect camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. And we're just going to click the plus and we're going to add a camera. And we can select the camera we want right here just by adding it. You can select your resolution and your frames per second right here. Pretty much whatever you want to set it up as, you can set it up. 24 is fine. We're going to add it right there. Down here we have the wrong audio, so we're going to delete that. So then we can go right here and we can click on audio source and select microphone. We can add whatever microphone that we want to add, and we can see that it's working. And the best part is, and this is what makes Split Cam really cool, we can click here. We can add noise suppression, gain filter, composite filter, a compressor. All that stuff is built right in. We can change the attack delay. We can change how everything works in our audio without having to load in any crazy filters. I absolutely love that. I think that's really cool. If we drop this down, we can add effects to our camera and that sort of stuff. So you can see in the effects, we've got different color effects that we can add. We can add LUTs, all that sort of stuff. Sharp and blur, artistic, frames, masks, and we can do background and tracking. So we can chroma key something out if we want. We can remove the background, and you can see it works pretty well. So we're going to turn that off. We'll go over here, and you can see we can blur the background. Very simple. We can add color pop. We can add face tracking. So yeah, all this camera stuff works pretty well. But that's basically it. It's super simple. It has some cool tools. If you go in here, you can add PDF documents, videos, text. You can add a timer, a whiteboard, which is kind of nice. It allows you to draw on the screen. You can add an audio playlist as well. You can have as many scenes as you see fit. You can add browser sources as well, so it has the ability to add all of the alerts and that sort of stuff if that's what you want to do. Split cam is very simple but also very robust, especially if you want to use all of the things available in the audio mixer. I think it's definitely a great alternative for somebody who's just getting into live streaming because it is so simple but yet has all the features that you could possibly want. Is there a free streaming platform I left off the list that you think should definitely be here? Let me know down in the comments. And if you want to see a deeper dive into the Prism Live Studio, check this video out. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks to help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Feyrer Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.